You know, every business, big or small, needs a playbook, a game plan. But what actually goes into one? Well, today we're taking a crash course on the core strategic frameworks that can turn an underdog into a titan. These are the tools leaders use to make those game-winning decisions. So let's jump right in.
It's a story we all love, right? The little guy, the scrappy startup, taking on some massive entrenched giant. But have you ever really stopped to think about how they actually managed to do it? How do they pull it off?
Yeah, it's not some lucky break, and it's definitely not magic. The secret weapon, the thing that levels the playing field, is a rock-solid, brilliant strategy. It's all about knowing exactly where you're going to compete, and more importantly, how you're going to win. Just think about it for a second. You've got these nimble little gazelles that can run circles around the 800-pound gorillas. The classic example, of course, is Netflix versus Blockbuster. While Blockbuster, the gorilla, was doubling down on physical stores and charging late fees, Netflix, the gazelle, was looking at a totally different future, one with subscriptions and streaming. See, they weren't just playing the same game better. They were inventing a whole new one. Okay, so where do you even begin to get that kind of game-changing perspective? Well, you start with the most fundamental tool in any strategist's kit, the good old SWOT analysis. Think of SWOT as your complete 360-degree view of reality. It's a simple framework that forces you to do two things. Look inward at your own company, what are your strengths and your weaknesses, and then look outward at the world around you. What are the opportunities and threats out there? It's really the essential first step to just understand where you stand. And the real power of SWOT is in this simple four-box grid. It neatly separates the things you can control from the things you can't. On the inside, you've got your strengths, the things your company is awesome at, and your weaknesses. Then on the outside, you have opportunities you could potentially grab and threats you need to watch out for. It's like an honest, no-fluff map of your entire situation. All right, so once you've done that internal checkup with SWOT, it's time to zoom out, way out, because a truly great strategy means you have to understand the entire landscape, the big picture. And for that, we have a tool called Pestle Analysis. This is your high-level radar, scanning for all the massive forces that are shaping your world. We're talking about political shifts, economic trends, big social changes, new technology, and of course, the legal and environmental rules that everyone has to play by. You know, these are the huge currents that can either speed you up or drag you down. Now, understanding those big picture forces is absolutely critical. But what about the fight that's happening right in front of you? The rivals who are going after the very same customers right here and right now. For that, we turn to the legendary Michael Porter and his five forces model. This framework is so critical because it shows you that competition isn't just about your direct rivals. No, it's a whole dynamic system of 5 different pressures that all work together to determine how profitable or how brutal an industry really is. So let's just grab one of these forces to see how it works. The threat of new entry. Basically, how easy is it for a new company to waltz in and start competing with you? Well, that all depends on your barriers to entry. Things like needing massive amounts of cash to even get started, or customers being locked into your service. These barriers are like the protective moat around your business castle. The bigger the moat, the safer you are. So, you've analyzed yourself, you've analyzed the world, you've analyzed your industry. Now comes the million-dollar question. What makes you special? What's your unique edge that competitors can't just go out and copy tomorrow? To figure that out, we use something called the VRIO framework. This is a seriously powerful tool because it's not just about listing your strengths. VRI is a tough 4-part test that tells you if your advantages are the real deal, truly sustainable, or if they're just temporary. Let's use a quick example we all know. Google's search algorithm. First up, V for valuable. Is Google's algorithm valuable? Oh, you better believe it. It's incredibly valuable for users finding information and for Google's ad business. If the answer here is no, well, you stop. The resource isn't a strength. Okay, next question. R for rare. Is it something that lots of other companies have? Nope. While other search engines are out there, the power and sophistication of Google's core algorithm is in a class of its own. It's definitely not a common commodity. Now this is the real kicker. I for imitate. Is it expensive or difficult for someone else to copy? For Google, that's a huge yes. We're talking about decades of data, patents, and trade secrets. A competitor can't just build that overnight. This is what makes an advantage stick around for the long haul. And finally, O for organized.
This is the one people sometimes forget. Does the company actually have everything in place to take advantage of this amazing resource? For Google, absolutely. Their whole company, from engineers to data centers, is built to leverage that algorithm. Having a secret weapon is one thing. Being organized to use it is what wins the war.
And look, this isn't just abstract stuff for a classroom. These frameworks are what businesses actually do. When a company is analyzing its marketing mix, that's SWOT in action. When they're building loyalty programs, they're creating a barrier to entry. This is the practical logic behind real-world business decisions.
But here's the thing. You can have the most brilliant, Nobel Prize-winning strategy on paper, and it means absolutely nothing if you can't execute it. This brings us to the final part of our playbook, the tools that ensure you deliver with quality.
And there are two big philosophies here. The first is total quality management, or TQM. Think of this as creating a company-wide culture that's obsessed with getting better every single day. The other is Six Sigma. This is less of a philosophy and more of a highly specialized toolkit. It's a super data-driven method for hunting down and eliminating defects until your processes are nearly perfect. Whew. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. SWOT, PESTLE, Porter. So how do we pull all of these incredibly powerful tools together into one single coherent playbook?
Well, here it is, your 5-step strategic toolkit. It's a logical flow. You start with SWOT to get to know yourself. Then you use PESTLE and Porter's 5 forces to understand the world and the battlefield. After that, you use VRIO to find your unique secret weapon. And finally, you bring in TQM or Six Sigma to make sure you execute your master plan flawlessly.
And I just want to say it one more time. These frameworks aren't just for a final exam. This structured way of thinking is exactly how the best leaders see the world, find their opening, and make the tough calls that lead to success. So I'll leave you with this final thought. As you look at the business landscape today, ask yourself, what tools are the current gorillas, like Amazon or Apple, using to defend their kingdoms? And maybe more excitingly, what new insights will the next gazelle find using these exact same tools to completely change the game all over again?